Hello there, and welcome to our Honoring Service web series. Today, I'm so delighted to have Julie Franco as our guest. Julie is the president and CEO of Gunny Gear. She started her military service very early. I'm talking 3 days after her 18th birthday, she decided she was going to take the oath and enlist in the Marines. Having a great military career, she became a gunnery sergeant and decided she wasn't done serving yet. Now, with Gunny Gear, her mission is to have an apparel company that empowers and honors veterans with military-inspired clothing. Julie, I know you're doing a bunch of stuff. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here.
So I need to ask, did you know you were going to be a Marine as soon as you came out of the womb? Like, how quickly was this a designated thing for you, considering how quickly you went in?
When I was 14 years old, I had already made up my mind that I was going to become a Marine. And I went to the first recruiting station when I was 16 years old, and they told me I had a few obstacles to accomplish before I could actually become a Marine.
It was one of those obstacles, obviously, becoming of age to join?
Yes, becoming of age and graduating high school.
Okay. Why the Marines?
They have the best uniform, and I wanted to be a part of something bigger than me, even though I was a tiny little person at the time.
A tiny little person at the time. That's right. You had to get a waiver to join, didn't you? I
had to get a waiver because I was only 88 pounds.
So you've had a long career in the Marines. What was it that, in all of that time that you were in, was there something specific that made you have some type of view on the roles and responsibilities of citizenship?
I think when I was in the Marines, I was so young when I joined the Marines. But being in the Marines, they taught me about leadership, about developing patriotism, what we were doing and why we stand. And honestly, I was a child when I joined. And with the Marines, they taught me to grow up fast and why we do certain things.
And that there's so much symbolism behind the Marines, right? We're not very far at all from that Jima memorial, correct, right? You drove into that on your way over here today. But there's such a symbolism behind that, right? Specifically, that memorial is something that really shows the tenacity and the drive of the American military spirit. Is there some story that you can share with us that you really saw that firsthand?
I think it started when I was in boot camp. Being so small, I actually had stress fractures in my hips, and I was held back, and I was told that, it was my free card to go home, and I was going to return as being a civilian. But in my heart, I knew I had to push through no matter what. I begged them to give me another trial and give me another chance. They sent me to the medical platoon. I stayed there for an extra 5 weeks, but I pushed so hard so that just like them, I could carry the flag.
I love that, right? And that flag that we all keep on our shoulder all during that time, and that imagery, right? That even when it came to Iwo Jima, when they first were doing that ceremony, they were interrupted by a grenade strike, right? And they decided to redo it again, and that was actually the picture that we have captured. That's won so many awards and really boosted morale, and is now the flag and standard bearer for that symbol that we think of with the Marines. With that same thing, you then decided to launch this apparel company, right? And I use that in a way that, yeah, it's a business, but it also, to me, seems like it's more, and it reminds me that we have this one specific thing in our curriculum, art is protest. And in that part of our curriculum, it really kind of highlights that art and clothing can be a political movement. There are things that, besides just being a business, maybe it's a movement, maybe there's a political statement you're trying to make. Is there some type of statement that you're trying to make with Gunny Gear?
Yes. The statement is that no matter what size, where you come from, anything and everything is possible. You just have to push forward. Follow that grit, own that grit, and be that purpose. Like I said, when I joined the Marines, I was only 88 pounds. So when I graduated boot camp, the first thing you want to do, or you graduate a university, first thing you want is a t-shirt that's going to represent your hard work. Being so small, I went to the exchange and there was nothing in my size. And I waited for over 23 years for that to come about or come into life. Unfortunately, it never happened. So I decided, why not me? And we launched Gunny Gear, and thank goodness it has represented, and a lot of the feedback that I get is extremely positive. They're like, yes, women in the military can do it too. And we have. And we're, increasing our numbers. Women are actually re-enlisting faster than the males nowadays.
How does that make you feel considering the environment that you walked into and how much it has morphed now? It hasn't just evolved, it's completely different from what it was from the time you were into the time it is now.
It makes me really proud. It makes me proud to see that there's women out there that paved the way for me. So then I was able to take that torch, and now I want to hand off the torch to the next generation. And with Gunny Gear, I feel like that's something that I'm working on doing, to be able to pass on the torch, not only to our active duty, but also the veterans and the community that help support us, because we can't do it alone.
And you know, speaking of all those young people, right? Me and you raised that right hand. We took that oath of office to the Constitution of the United States. Not every young person is going to do that, and that's not going to be their path. How would you recommend that young people serve their communities? What do you advise them to do to be able to empower and strengthen the places that they call home?
You know, and you don't have to be in one of these positions as a CEO or a president or founder. You could just start at home in your community. Start by being kind. Start by helping your neighbors. Start by saying please and thank you. And if you see somebody that needs help, take a few seconds to actually help them. And I'm going to be honest, I could be a little selfish, because when I help somebody, it gives something back to you. So keep growing from that.
I mean, how much better would the entire world be if we just take a moment to pause and help where we can?
Yes.
So, you know, I know you have so much time that you have to do other things, and I appreciate the amount of time that you're here with us. If there's something else that you would like to share with our teachers and our students that would be watching this, what would that message be to them?
One thing I'm big on is I'm your typical girl next door from a small town. And if you just dream big, anything and everything is possible. We all have 24 hours. What counts is what we do with those 24 hours.
24 hours, that's all it takes.
Yes, sir.
Well, Julie, girl next door to president and founder and gunnery sergeant in between. I'm so glad that you were able to spend this time with us.
Thank you for giving this time to me.
And to all the viewers that we had that tuned in, thank you so much for joining us. Please check out the description for some links to some of the curriculum that we just mentioned. Thank you again, Julie.
Thank you.